Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Juan from the Max and Juan cast. Quick disclaimer with this video. Carson Wentz ended up getting traded to the Colts. We did not know that while recording this podcast. But luckily for you guys, we ended up recording a little segment about the Carson Wentz trade, giving our thoughts on it. But as far as all the other teams go, we did not know that. We're going to keep it in there. We're going to keep it raw. Okay, we apologize for that, but it's still a great podcast. We hope you guys enjoy. Cue the intro. I think he's going to be a stud, man. I don't know if he's going to be a surefire Hall of Famer. I won't say that. But I would say this, and I'll be confident in saying this. Trevor Lawrence is the best prospect I've seen since Andrew Luck. I think he's a surefire number one pick. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Juan from the Max and Juan cast with my co-host.
It's me. I'm Max. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to get into some more rebuilds? Not rebuilds is the wrong word, but just more season reviews, biggest offseason questions that they want.
Basically, man. And I just want to say thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to us, man. We really appreciate it. With that said, let's get into it, bro. J.J. Watt. All right, it's only right. Let's start off with the Texans. The man is gone, okay? The all-pro, the bulldog of the defense for the Houston Texans. He's done, bro.
The NFL cover boy, whatever you want to call it. He's got a Subway commercial. He's not even the best football player in his family.
That's tough. I would have to agree.
He was cut, right? He was 100% cut.
It was mutual.
But, not like they, basically, let him free, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was a mutual parting of the ways.
They released him, basically. But
so when he gets cut, I have a group chat with some friends from college, and they're all like, "They're cutting J.J. Watt." I'm like, good move on their part. We had him down as one of the cut candidates. I know he's J.J. Watt, right? He's a bigger name than he is a player right now. I know Houston's defense isn't great, but my man has 5 sacks the last 2 years each.
No, most definitely. His play has gone way down. He's no more the all-pro or the great player that he was. And don't get me wrong, before we get more into it, he was phenomenal. He was great. He was a fucking beast, okay, J.J. Watt. Play inside, play outside. Before Aaron Donald, he was probably the most dominant player in football.
Oh, absolutely. Remember they used to let him pick his own matchup and shit? And they would just say, go ahead and go eat.
Exactly.
He won 3 Defensive Player of the Years, and there's no taking those away from him. He arguably could have won 1 or 2 more.
No, and I think a big part of it was obviously injuries. The injuries caught up to him. He has a bad back. I believe he's had torn labrums and all kinds of shit, man. He's all fucked up.
I mean, he's old too. It's not like he's a young guy. He's got to be 33?
Yeah, and I would say this. He's overrated as fuck right now.
People aren't going to like that.
It's true, though. It's true. He's overrated. He is a big name, like you said, but he doesn't play to the level that we're used to seeing him. He's just not that player. Is he good enough to be on a roster? Hell yeah. But are you going to pay this guy the contract that he was under? Hell no. Okay? And that's why he got released. It was a combination of his play going down, his money situation, and just the state of the Houston Texans right now. And to be honest, it has not been a good last two years, I would say, for Houston sports in general.
No, especially the Texans. They're going downhill. Their star quarterback wants out. And I just want to say he's 31 going on 32. I think if you put J.J. Watt on a good D-line, he can be a much more productive player, but he's not the type of guy where he's the focal point of attention anymore.
Yeah, he's not the alpha.
He needs to be like a 2 or 3. If you get J.J. Watt as your third best player on the D-line, that's good. Yeah, I'll say that.
Exactly. And you got to get him under the right price tag, which I think he's going to know his value once he gets out there. And I mean, just off straight predictions, Max, if you got to put money on it right now, who does he go to?
Definitely a contender. Maybe the Titans. I heard he had some interest there. Packers. I don't know why he rolled out the Steelers. If I was him, I would try to go to the Steelers unless he doesn't think they have a chance to win.
That would be great. All the Watt brothers together. If I had to pick a team, I would go Patriots, man. I would love to see him on the Patriots. I feel like he fits that mold. The Patriots are not that good right now. They're probably not a hot commodity. But if I had to put money on it, I would say Green Bay Packers.
Oh, that's a good one. I was going to say the Packers. That's originally who I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
But I just kind of... You know, a lot of times NFL free agents, when they leave, they stay in the division. It just happens to be like that because the NFL, there's so many players. It's not like basketball where you see everybody twice a year. You know, you don't play some teams some years. But, I mean, let's go. Do you want to get into the Texans?
Let's get into it, man.
Well, here, do you want to take me through the Bill O'Brien experience or do you want me to lead it off?
Lead it off, bro. And, okay, just to start off, I want to give you my grade now, F. But continue.
I'm with you, bro. It's an F. Look, we all know about the DeAndre Hopkins trade. That was just terrible fucking trade. David Johnson, he's washed. I'm sorry. He's also on the list of cut candidates. This is what it boils down to. Bill O'Brien went all in the year they went for Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills gets cut this year. Deshaun Watson, he basically he does such a poor job, they fire him halfway through the year. He was the GM and the coach. Not a great look for him. And he basically is shit on their future so hard Deshaun Watson wants out. And he's, 25?
It was terrible last year.
Super underwhelming. And look, what's their record without Deshaun? Is it 1-15, 0-16?
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Like, they need help everywhere. And honestly, the biggest question, I know it's so stupid to say in like mainstream answer, is just, is Deshaun Watson going to play quarterback for them again?
I don't think so. It's not looking that way. Even if they do wind up keeping him, he said he's going to sit. I'm not sure. But it's crazy to think that a year ago, this team was up by 28 on the Kansas City Chiefs?
All downhill from there, bro.
And it's been all downhill. Like you said, the David Johnson for DeAndre Hopkins shit. They don't have a first-round pick. They're going to wind up trading a guy, Laramie Tunsil, that they winded up trading a first-round pick for. It's just a big old mess, dude. And I think that's the main question. Like you said, is Deshaun going to stay there? And he's not going to stay there because this team is nowhere near to competing. It's not even close.
I mean, let's be real. What's there to look forward to for Deshaun? His receivers aren't that good. Will Fuller was suspended again. He's also an impending free agent. He might not even return. And like, no offense, Brandon Cooks here like as mediocre can get. I know you got some speed, but Brandon Cooks doesn't really scream out, "Oh wow, stay Deshaun, please stay." I got him on the cut candidate list with Bradley Roby, David and Duke Johnson, J.J. Watt. Oh wait, that one already happened.
I believe for Brandon Cooks, it's his, third team in the last 4 seasons?
Yeah, he went from New Orleans to New England to the Rams to the Texans. Am I missing one out?
I think that's about it. I think if you switch that many teams, you're probably not that good.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been productive. Like, he's not terrible, right? Like, I would have taken him on the Eagles at any point last year, but he's just not special. And he's got a huge contract. It's like ridiculous for how much money he's making. But they can't cut him and save $12 million, so, I mean, I would consider it.
I think I would consider anything right now for the Texans to get money or assets, straight up. I think you got to go in full tank mode. I think that's a big reason why they hired this head coach. He's probably going to be the scapegoat.
Everyone was, like, calling for Eric Bieniemy to get this job. I'm so glad he didn't take this job because, golly. I mean, it kind of reminds you of the Dolphins job for a couple years ago. Remember when they hired Flores? Everyone was like, "Oh wow, he's just gonna go there and get fired. This is a terrible team. They're tanking." But I mean, at least the Dolphins didn't have a terrible, like, I don't know. They don't even have a first round pick, dude. They traded a top 4 pick for Laramie Tunsil, who's good, but just no sight of the future, bro. They just went all in.
Yeah, and this will be the counter to anyone who disagrees to going all in, because I think the Texans are a prime example on how it can go down south really quick. Because like we said, this team was in the divisional playoffs, up by 28 points, probably on their way to an AFC championship, and now they're here. They're at rock bottom. They're probably the 3rd worst team in the league right now, next to the Jags and Jets.
Moving to the Jags, well, at least there's like a future there. You have the number 1 pick. You have Trevor Lawrence. Like, at least you have a reason to be excited. With them, it's like, oh, we already have, like, our franchise guy, but he doesn't even want to be here. Like, that's the worst feeling in the world, like, for any sports fan. It's like, oh, we have the franchise guy, but he hates it here. He wants out.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough year for Houston. But like you said, let's get into the Jags. The Jags, man, number one pick. It's obvious they're gonna pick Trevor Lawrence. Have you seen that video of Trevor Lawrence of his pro day at Clemson?
I did.
Fucking.
But why don't you explain it for people who weren't there or haven't seen it? Excuse me.
The dude has a freaking cannon, bro. He has an arm. The shoulder surgery is gonna be fine. It's on his non-throwing arm. I think he's gonna be a stud, man. I don't know if he's gonna be a surefire Hall of Famer. I won't say that, but I would say this, and I'll be confident in saying this: Trevor Lawrence is the best prospect I've seen since Andrew Luck. I think he's a surefire number one pick.
He's 6'6", and he moves like someone who's like 6'2". Like, you know, like Joe Flacco, Brock Osweiler, they were really stiff, right? Honestly, the first guy I kind of saw who was like as big as he was and was mobile was Herbert. You know, like he looked like a fluid athlete. And Trevor Lawrence, he looks more fluid than Herbert, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's definitely a lot more fluid. He's a lot more mobile than you think. He's the total package, man. He's basically on what these kids are looking like coming out of college now. It's these big guys who can run and they can throw. They got big arms. Like, it's rare that you see a guy who's a sitting duck back there, like a Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers type of dude.
I mean, we kind of saw that in Josh Rosen, and we saw how that panned out.
Exactly. He wasn't the most mobile guy for sure.
So what was your grade for their like season before? And like they fired Doug Marrone, they cleaned house. I gave them a D, and I only gave them a D because they somehow landed the number one pick, and they should not have been able to land it.
I'm gonna give them a D minus just because I felt like if Gardner Minshew probably played a lot more games than he did, they probably would have won a lot more football games. But I gave them a D minus. It's not totally an F just because of the fact that they did end up with the number one pick. And they do got some bright spots on this team. You got the running back in James Robinson, who was an undrafted free agent to mention. And everyone thought when they cut Leonard Fournette, they're like, oh my God, they're going to have to get a new running back. It looks like they found one in this guy Robinson. A lot of guys are hot and cold on DJ Chark. But they feel like they have something in DJ Chark. They still got a guy on Miles Jack on the other side of the ball. So they got a couple of bright spots.
Their offense isn't like devoid of all weapons. They got Westbrook. They have Laviska Shenault. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
That's
I'm
correct.
Sorry. He was not bad as a rookie. They have Tyler Eifert. He's a solid veteran. The O-line's not terrible either. They got Linder, Norwell, Cam Robinson. I know he's kind of hot up and down. People don't really like him.
Cam Robinson had a pretty good year though. I like what I seen.
Yeah, they just drafted Jawan Taylor in the second round, so it's not like he's going and they have no going to block. Basically, he's not going to the Deshaun Watson situation. Now, especially, at least they have good receivers. They got $77 million to spend in free agency,
and that's league high. That's the most money in the league, right?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. They got to do something with it. It's not the first time that the Jags have had a lot of cap space, but it's crazy with this team too. I think it's the same deal with the Texans. Time has passed from this time, but they were just like the best defense in the league, and this team is deteriorated. It's gone. No Ramsey. No, I don't know what happened to Tevin Smith. I don't know if he's coming back to play football. They lost a guy in Yannick Ngakoue. They lost Calais Campbell. Just countless guys. AJ Bouye. Just that defense is no more. That team is no more. And it's just crazy to think how, what was that, 2 seasons ago that this team was competing.
I think it was 3? 2 or 3?
2 or 3 seasons ago.
Still, like nobody from that defense is there. And there were so many young guys. Oh, excuse me. Miles Jack is still there. But just, it's crazy. I don't even know did you say Ramsey?
Yeah, Ramsey. But obviously they let him go. They got a lot of assets for Ramsey. I'll give them that, though.
And I think they have another first-round pick this year from that trade.
Correct.
I think, obviously, the Texans is like the bleakest situation, the darkest. I'm not entirely, like, sad if I'm a Jags fan. Like, we got a lot going for us.
And look, we mentioned all these players, right? And we mentioned the cap space. But not to mention the guy that they hired. They hired Urban Meyers. That's a fucking blockbuster deal. Like, this is big time. They're going to have Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyers. Like, I want to watch that. They're going to be totally watchable next season.
I think definitely I think a bigger question mark than Lawrence is Urban Meyer. We haven't seen this guy coach in 2 years. It kind of ended sourly in Ohio State with the domestic violence stuff. He had health issues. That's why he retired. Like, I just hope he stays healthy and coaches. And I mean, we've seen college guys make I feel like right now is a lot easier for college guys to make the leap. Like, if you think back 10 years ago, like Shiano, that went awful in Tampa. It had like one good moment, and that's probably when they like tried to injure Eli Manning from the kneel down.
Yeah.
Look, really quick before we move on, who's your free agent you're targeting?
I think a good guy to get for them, maybe if Denver lets Justin Simmons walk, that'll be a good pickup at safety. It seems like a move that the Jags will do. They haven't really had a good safety since like Barry Church and Deshaun Gibson.
They had Ronnie Harrison, again, another guy they just got rid of for no reason, who's a very good football player.
Even a Bud Dupree.
But if I was them, I would go Joe Thuney or Trent Williams and maybe like a T.Y. Hilton. I only say those two guys, the two offensive linemen, just because all costs you got to protect Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And even if you overpay them, like give them a 2-year deal. Like you're gonna have so much cap space moving forward. Like the rookie contract, we know is the most valuable thing to have, especially for a quarterback.
So before we move on, I just want to ask you this: what's their win total? Over, under at 8?
I'd say under, but it'll be like 6-10, 7-9. I don't think they're gonna win
Really?
games.
I don't know, man. Looking at this team, I kind of like it. The more I look at it, and obviously I want to see what they do in the draft as a whole. Like, obviously I know they're going to draft Lawrence, but I want to see the full draft on what they exactly do and see who they sign in free agency. But I really like this team. I'm a big fan of Urban Meyer. There's a lot of people who say his recruiting skills are not going to work out because it's obviously the pros. Like, what the hell is that going to get you? But I like Urban Meyer. I love Trevor Lawrence. They got a little bit of talent. They got some playmakers, and their offensive line is decent. It's not terrible, but I can see it. But I can see them winning maybe even 9 or 10 games. As crazy as that sounds.
Would be dang.
I mean,
that would have to be Trevor Lawrence would have to have a Herbert type
exactly.
Year, dude.
I'm banging on Lawrence. I think he's that good.
I understand. I can get behind that. And look, so we're gonna move on. Do you want to go to what team do you want to go to? The Colts or the Titans?
Let's go to the Colts. Let's save the best for last because the Titans did win the division. But let's get into the Colts. Now the Colts are another interesting ass team. A bunch of cap space. They wind up losing Phillip Rivers, but they winded up going toe-to-toe with the Buffalo Bills, man. That defense played amazing this year. DeForest Buckner was a fucking great pickup for them.
All it cost them was a first-round pick.
Yeah, that
insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane. No offense, San Francisco. You traded the wrong defensive tackle. You should have traded Armstead without a shadow of a doubt.
You gave the money to the wrong guy. That's what happened.
So I gave them a B+, and I would have been higher, but it's just like there's no continuity at quarterback moving forward, especially with Phillip Rivers. Like he was good. He was like Phillip Rivers. I don't know how to say it. He wasn't good. He wasn't bad. Like he had his moments, but
yeah, I'm gonna give him a B+. Basically on the same reasons, just the whole quarterback situation. But I love what they have in Jonathan Taylor. On the defensive end, I would say this: they played very well. Okay, they played as overachievers because their corners last year, I don't see them duplicating that next season. I really don't. Xavier
Rhodes is a free agent.
Yeah, Xavier Rhodes is a free agent. I don't think Kenny Moore is gonna play like that again. I really do think there were overachievers, especially in the back end.
I don't think so. I disagree. I think they just play a very simple scheme, and that's what it is. They play a lot of zone. They don't play a lot of man-to-man, and they're really sound in it. And they just let the guys up front get pressure. But look, Xavier Rhodes is gone. He wants too much money that was reported today. And I can't invest a lot of money in Xavier Rhodes because when we last saw him, before we saw him on Minnesota, he was done.
He was atrocious.
We got T.Y. Hilton, Justin Houston, Malik Hooker, Marlon Mack, and Zach Pascal. I think Malik Hooker's gone, and it's not a talent thing. It's just an availability thing. I don't think he's been healthy for 1 second. Basically, in his NFL career, it seems like every other year, like every other game, he's hurt.
You hit it right on the nose. The best ability is availability, and he does not have that. One guy that interests me is Marlon Mack, dude. I'm a big fan of Marlon Mack. I think he's the definition of a poor man's Le'Veon Bell. And I'm not talking about Kansas City Chiefs Le'Veon Bell. I'm talking about Le'Veon Bell back in the day with the Pittsburgh Steelers back in his heyday. I love Marlon Mack, man. I do hope that this injury is not so serious that it affects his game. I hope he bounces back.
But do you think he's like gone?
He's probably gone just because, the Jonathan Taylor situation. They really like Nyheim Hines. He's a good little third down back for them. I think they'll be solid with just those two guys. It's kind of hard to see Marlon Mack coming back to the Colts.
Yeah, he's definitely better than Nyheim Hines healthy, but just the Jonathan Taylor, like he's going to be the bell cow. We saw it. Especially like the way he ended the year on a strong note. Chris Ballard, their GM, definitely doesn't really value the running back position. And, I mean, that's smart. We've seen the devaluation of running backs in the last 7-10 years maybe, going back that far. And I think they need another receiver on offense. And for the defensive side, they need an edge rusher.
I would say edge rusher. Even if Justin Houston stays there, he's a little bit long in the tooth for me. Their defense has a lot of potential as far as like guys like Darius Leonard. He's probably arguably a top 3 linebacker in the league. Freaking maniac is amazing. But I would probably say edge rusher, and then on the offensive end, I wouldn't really say a wide receiver. I would more say maybe a tight end. Like Mo Alley Cox is cool. He's a big
Jack Doyle's cool too.
I know, you know what I mean? Like they're just solid. It would be great because they have a bunch of cap space. So like it wouldn't be crazy for them to go after a guy like
look, if they wanted to like kick the tires on Ebron if he gets cut, I wouldn't have no issue if they brought him back.
Another name that's been thrown out is your boy Carson Wentz.
I didn't want to bring it up, truthfully. I just wanted to pretend like in a world where the Eagles keep Carson Wentz because I'm still in that boat.
All right, so way to go, Colts. Way to mess up our recording. Fuck you guys, by the way. So as you guys know, we got the disclaimer with the whole AFC South and the whole Colt situation. But Carson Wentz, bro, Indianapolis Colt, just got traded today.
Good thing I didn't bet my soul on this, bro. Like someone in this podcast would have. But look, they're going to get Carson Wentz. They're trading a 3rd-round pick this year and a 2nd-round pick next year. And if he plays a certain amount of snaps, it turns into a 1st-round pick. I can't believe we got that much, honestly. And even if it doesn't turn into a 1st-round pick, I'm happy. I'm happy Carson Wentz is going to have a new home. I wish it was in Philadelphia. But like you guys saw on the Instagram story and I've been writing it all day and telling people all day, we failed him and he failed us. It was a mutual failure. Like, bad luck of injuries, bad luck of just circumstance, no O-linemen, no offensive weapons. It didn't pan out, man. And there was so many great signs early on, and I just can't believe it. Like, I'm still kind of in shock. It's been a whole day of processing the news. I mean, you can go ahead and give your thoughts, Juan.
Man, my thoughts, it's tough. It's a tough situation in Philly. You guys are obviously in a rebuild process, but as far as the Indianapolis Colts side, it is great. I think it's a win-win for them. It's low risk, high reward. Shout out to Project on Instagram. I think he said it the best. Like, he helped you guys out. He played at an MVP type level. He brought you guys to the playoffs, got you guys a bunch of wins. And yeah, he didn't play in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl and actually win it, but he contributed. And it's a lot more that you can say about him than you can say about other QBs.
Honestly, yeah. And the Colts just answered their biggest offseason question. Who's the quarterback? We know it's Carson Wentz. They're investing in him. And the crazy part is they're not going to take on all the money for the contract, right? I'm pretty sure the Eagles have the biggest dead cap in like NFL history. They're paying this guy $10 million a year. Or excuse me, this guy's going to be on their books for $10 million a year for the next 3, and then he's on the books for $6 million like 4 years from now.
Yeah, that's insane. Well, the whole Philly situation, once the draft process gets going, we'll go more into them. But as far as the Colts, let's stay on the Colts side. Now they got a QB. They got a great team around them. Okay, first of all, they have an offensive line. They're going to be able to protect them. 2, he has his old coordinator back, Frank Wright, reunited. That's huge.
If they can get like 80% of the magic back Look out, AFC. Like, he might honestly shift the whole AFC power rankings. It's like, I get he's Carson Wentz. We just saw him play like crap. I got it. But there was 3 years where he played amazing and no one really gave him the credit because the Eagles sucked and didn't have a good record or he got hurt. And like you said, Juan, with this team, they were like a quarterback away. There's a good defense, good positions. I know they have some free agents. Well, look, I know they have some free agents. They have $69 million in cap space. I know Carson Wentz is going to eat up probably, $20 million of that? Yeah, I know it's kind of funky with trades in the NFL, with the way the cap works. But they can spend money, they need to go all in, right? That's their big thing now. You have to go all in.
I think so. You got to go all in. They got a bunch of cap. They got some draft capital as far as this year goes. So it should be fine, okay? They're going to be really good. Like, they're the team to beat in this division at the least.
Easily. I think this puts them ahead of the Titans, and it's going to be bad when we get to, like if we had to redo the rankings, I got them 1, not 2, or wherever I had them. They're the top dogs.
Yeah, they're definitely 1 for me now, too. It's going to be great. Jonathan Taylor, Carson Wentz. Hopefully he boosts up the development speed of a guy like Michael Pittman, Campbell, all those guys. Hopefully they get a tight end. Who knows? Maybe. It would be funny. What if Zach Ertz winds up going there?
Frank Wright would be getting the band back together.
We're talking about this in a light that it's positive, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Where
play devil's advocate?
Yeah, let's switch over to the other side and let's put a scenario that this doesn't work out.
Well, obviously with Carson Wentz, you got to be concerned about his health. He's been healthy the last 2 years other than getting knocked out of the playoff game. He was healthy this year, but we see him tear his ACL, break his back, the concussion. If he doesn't stay healthy, it could go south pretty quick. The one positive, though, is the Colts have a good O-line, but still you got to question the health, right?
Yeah, that's number one. You got to question the health. But, man, I really do think that the offensive line is going to help him. I do know that Costanzo did retire. He's gone, so they do need to get a left tackle. I wouldn't be opposed to getting Quentin Nelson to play left tackle. I think he can do it. To be honest, he's that talented. But, yeah, Carson Wentz, I think it's more of the decision making for him. Last year, it was really bad decision making, man. I don't know what happened. His mechanics got kind of thrown off. His feet were always scrambled. It was bad. It was a bad look, but he wouldn't be the first quarterback to resurrect his career somewhere else, because he probably just needs a new scenery. Okay, Philly's just it's a process right now. Like to say with the 76ers a couple of years ago, trust the process.
Yeah, we gotta trust the Philadelphia football team process at this point. Jeez.
Well, I think that's it, man. Try to disregard any talk that we have about the Colts not having a QB. But for now, we saying peace from the future, y'all.
Peace. Y'all have a good one, man. Thanks a lot, Colts. Couldn't do that shit 2 days ago.
Now back to the program you guys were listening to. Now let's get into the division champs. It wasn't the season that they had a couple seasons ago, going to the AFC Championship, having that AFC Championship berth and that little run that Ryan Tannehill had. But this team was very up and down, I would say. Their defense was definitely not the same. Derrick Henry ran like a freaking maniac out on the field, 2,000 yards. A.J. Brown had a great year. Ryan Tannehill had I wouldn't say a great year, but he had a solid year. Yeah, I like Ryan Tannehill, but I don't think it was at the level of last season on where he played like in the playoffs. What grade do you give this team?
I gave them a B. I feel like everyone was okay with them being up and down because we already saw like a year of that. Because they were up and down, I would say, the 2 years ago. And they just kind of they got up at the right time. And they went on that little run.
Yeah, a big reason why that run happened was the quarterback change. Was from Mariota to Ryan Tannehill. So people said, hey, we're going to have Ryan Tannehill start from week 1 all the way to the end of the regular season. We should have some consistency, and that just didn't happen.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, look, this team got hit hard by COVID. I mean, much to their own doing, and somehow they escaped without a single infraction. Their defense was the big problem with this team. And obviously, Derrick Henry carried the offense, 2,000 yards, amazing, best running back in football. The defense was just horrific. There was nothing to write home about. Clowney gets hurt. Like, the only positive was probably the emergence of Jeffrey Simmons as a really good player, but they're just bad. And you know what? You know what surprised me? They weren't coached well on defense either. And I really think highly of Vrabel as a coach.
Yeah, the offense at times with the passing game and the defense. The defense, you hit it right on the nose. There was just blown coverages left and right. Like Kevin Byard, I don't know what happened to him. He had a massive down year. They traded for a guy in Desmond King that they got for like a 5th or 6th round. I love the dude, but even getting him into the mix, like it seemed like it didn't really help. Their linebackers, they're talented. Their defensive line, it's talented, but I don't know what happened. It's like they have all the pieces, but whether it was coaching or just injuries or COVID, I don't know what it was, but the defense was for sure underwhelming. I mean, maybe it was from missing a guy like Jarrell Casey.
I didn't like that trade when they made it on their part. Like, for a 6th-round pick, it's like you're in the win now mode. Like, what are you trying to save a couple dollars for that? And look, what you said about Desmond King, I thought that was going to be a big addition to their defense because they were missing Adoree Jackson for basically the whole year. And even when he came back, he didn't look like his normal self.
Yeah.
Can we just say, because me and you have been on this train for a while, Malcolm Butler sucks. He sucked his last year in New England, but he just kept getting by. Like, I know he made a play in the Super Bowl. It was an amazing play. He's never been to me a lockdown corner or a top 3 corner in football. He just hasn't been. And I think they should move on from him. I get it's a big name. People know his name. And I think this is going to be an underrated loss. They're losing Arthur Smith. He went to coach the Falcons. That's their OC. Do you think that's going to be a big loss for them?
It wouldn't be the first time that they lose their coordinator. So I would say no. I have faith in Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. And I'm a big fan of A.J. Brown. In our All-Pros episode, I thought that he should have been an All-Pro second team. I love A.J. Brown. He's good with the ball in his hands. He has really good hands. He tracks the ball really well. I don't think the offense is gonna struggle. What they need to do is get a couple more receivers because A.J. Brown's the only guy out there. Because this guy, Corey Davis, is a freaking no-show, bro. He no-showed in that playoff game against Baltimore.
Well, he got hurt a little bit through it. He made that one play, and he got hurt. Look, that brings me to my question. I'm going to tell you they're free agents. You tell me if you think they should bring them back, okay? And I'll just say this. They are $3 million over the cap, but we kind of said it late in this episode. That number's going to move. They can restructure. They can do a bunch of magic. So you tell me whenever you're ready. Clowney.
Yes.
Corey Davis. I'm going to say it's a no from you, right?
If he's the only option and you're scared that you're not going to get someone else, then yes, but I would say no.
What about Jonnu Smith? I would definitely bring him back. I'm a big fan of Jonnu.
I'm a huge fan of Jonnu Smith. Maybe that's a guy that the Colts should get if he does wind up hitting free agency.
That would be a very good poach. I think he's a little inconsistent, but overall, I'm just a big fan of him.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith is good.
And what about Desmond King?
I like Desmond King for the right price. I think you should keep him, but he's the type of dude that will probably get some money from a place like Jacksonville that has a lot of cap, or a place like Indianapolis, and go chase the money.
And last one, Jayon Brown. I would keep him for the right price.
I would keep him too. He's solid, man. Him and
Rashad Evans.
Yes, Rashad Evans. I think they're a pretty good duo. I would probably keep him, man. I would try to keep the defense intact.
What little good players they do have, you got to just try to keep them there. And, I mean, obviously, they're going to target some players in the draft. And, this is going to bring me to my last point about this team. They took a guy in the first round last year, Isaiah Wilson, right tackle from Georgia. He played 5 snaps, I believe, maybe 4 or 5. They're talking about cutting this dude 1 year in. The GM today said he's got to get on board or he's going to not be here. What the hell?
Yeah, that is not a good look when your first round pick is going through that.
Well, look, he got arrested for DUI and he broke COVID protocols. He's on the list twice. He wasn't listening. There was Snapchats of him out there. Just my guy, what are you thinking? I get you were the man in Georgia, a first round pick and shit, but this is the NFL. Every team has 5 or 6 first round picks on it.
Isaiah Wilson is going on his way to being a bust. It's kind of crazy if you really think about it. But even a guy like Corey Davis, that was a bad pick a couple of years back. He hasn't really panned out for them. I think they wanted him to be at the level of A.J. Brown, to be honest, on what they're getting out of A.J. Brown. But they definitely need a couple of receivers. They need some edge rushers. We'll see what happens with the Tennessee Titans, man. I like them. I like Vrabel. I like Tannehill. They paid Derrick Henry a lot of money. He's single-handedly keeping the running back position alive.
I think that wraps it up for the Titans. Do you want to rank the teams?
Let's rank them, man. Who you got at? Let's start from the bottom. Who do you have at 4?
Texans. Not even question. I don't think there's any question, right?
Yeah, I got Texans at 4.
3, I got the Jags.
I'm going to go Jags
They're
also.
not at the tier of the other two, but there's a bright future. Who's your second team?
My second team's going to be the Titans.
Really? I still have faith in the Titans. So I got the Colts at 2.
Yeah, I got the Colts at 1 and Titans at 2. I don't think it's that much of a difference. Look, both of these teams went 11-5, and both of these teams are extremely talented. But I think the Colts have a little bit more room to be elevated as a team. Like, they can easily be a dominant force in the AFC like that, depending on who they get at quarterback.
That's the reason I had the Colts at 2, though, was the quarterback position. And just the uncertainty, it just scares me a little. Because if they go in with Brissett, I'm scared. But if they can somehow pull off a miracle and get Dak or Wentz, or even they somehow one of the guys in the draft falls to them, I'd be like, oh, that's definitely the number 1 team.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. We hope you guys are enjoying this NFL offseason / season grades so far. We're almost done, man. We got, 3 more divisions to go?
3 more.
3 more divisions to go. We'll see who we do next. But make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Max_JuanCast. You're probably watching this on YouTube. You're probably listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And most of all, you got to what, Max?
You just have to obliterate that like button the same way the Jaguars apparently to 1 are going to smash through the AFC South into a 9-7 or 10-6 record. You're tripping.
Hey, dog, 3 teams coming out of the AFC South as playoffs? 3 teams.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy. But look, what are the chances they go worst to first? Like 20? 20%?
I would look with Trevor Lawrence. I will put that at about 50%.
You're insane. You're insane. I would put it like 20, 25, 50. You gotta make a bet on this, like going forward.
We'll see what draft. It's gonna be fun during draft time. I'll tell you that much. All right, guys. Well, with that said, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate all the support. I'm out.
I'm out too. We'll see you on the next one.